The van trailers?
Huh?
Van trailers? You have to see if you find the sweet spot, you kind of mimic them, you can get a little better fuel economy.
Yeah, he's a race car driver over here. He's trying
Some bicycling.
wind draft.
It's kind of,
Yeah, the doubles.
you can feel the difference.
Doubles down the interstate.
Sure. Every day it gets turbulent and then it gets smooth, and you're like, yeah, sweet spot.
Okay, we got it.
Call this meeting order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating, Snellings, Bikeman, Baraki,
Present.
Price,
Present.
Behrens. Here. Crum.
Here.
7.
Okay. First, we have the approval of minutes from the regular meeting on April 11th.
Move to approve minutes of the regular meeting, April 11th, 2022 is written.
Second.
Okay. Any changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Okay. Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for public comment? Mick Keating. Hello.
How are you?
All right.
First of all, I thank you for allowing me to speak for a few minutes, and I thank you for your service. I know from experience, public service don't get that often enough, but I thank you. Also, apologize for the quality of the request, but when you get 78 years old, not pretty, leaves a lot to be desired. I know there's some question about how 12th Street in front of my house became a city street, because one side of it is the old Wasserberg property, and you know they have 25 plus acres, and they were not able to bring them in because they had some problems at the time. I did not join the city when the improvement district went in. I guess that's what you call improvement district when you put that so in the lagoon out there and everything. And quite frankly, my house is on top of the hill. I was going to live with a grinder pump. I was county commissioner at the time, and I knew enough commissioners that had visited with them about grinder pumps, and they are a pain, to put it lightly. But then later when I got a call from, to better explain how this all came, how I came to join the city, I got a call one day from an attorney, McNish. I don't know if you remember that or not, John. That's when the water tower was going in, and you needed access to. Everybody thought that was a road, but it wasn't a road. It was my property, and you needed access. Well, I suppose we talked for 3 minutes at most, and I said, John, that needs to be a city street. I'll just donate the land. I said, ordinarily they take it half from both sides, but there's a lot of reasons not to expect the neighbors here to go along with it, and we sure didn't want to get any legal actions because, as I recall, the contract for the water tower had already been given. So like I said, I talked to John probably less than 3 minutes, but and I gave him the property. At that same time, Rick Shane approached me about joining the city, and by that time what's that called? Hometown edition went in, and I had, instead of having to go out and use a grinder pump, I was able to hook on the hometown sewer line and I guess if the lights go out for a long period of time, there'd probably be 30 feet of surge down there at the pump station before it reached my house, just because of the way the lay of the land is. So I agreed, I agreed to join at that time if the city would accept that road as a city responsibility for both sides of the road. I guess I'm here today just to ask this council to accept what people in the past have done, what the city in the past has done. Anybody have any questions?
Not really. John, do you remember that conversation, or?
I don't remember any deals I don't remember, that's too far back on me. I remember some things, but I know we got the water tower and Keating Road, and then put the new subdivision in. Was it the Rings who did the subdivision, or did you do the subdivision?
What?
Did the Rings do a subdivision out there, or did you do the subdivision?
The
The Rings? Did they do it?
No, the way that subdivision out there came about, in order to get tax credit money, the developer has to find somebody willing to sell the property for less than appraised value. And Jane and I, Jane's folks had lived in Beatty in a similar type arrangement there, and you know, the property was valued at $80,000, we sold it for $50,000, and that's was just one of the requirements that the state has, is that the developer finds somebody to sell it at below market rates.
I think he did the ordinance annexation of his property, but other than that, that's about it. I mean,
You also, John, did a deed.
Okay.
You know,
Deed, I can find it.
that's the one thing that I know you had me stop in to sign. But you know, Kevin, were you on the council at that time?
I was part of it, and then I was off for a couple of years, Mick, so I don't remember what part that was in, so.
Now, what are you requesting for, I just want to make sure I got it right, you're requesting the
Okay,
city take care
the
of your-
city for the last 15 years has treated that road as a city road.
To your south property line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
you said there's a deed?
my west property line, where my house is,
Right, yeah,
that along the white, I board with Wassenbergs.
right.
I do remember the property across the road is not part of the city,
No,
and then James Mueller was street superintendent, and he paved it, and then I thought there was a discussion that whether or not it should be paved or not. That's my extent of my remembering.
he was an old Army engineer, and he paved that with a what?
Marine.
Well, Marine, but he was part of the government, the engineer, and he laid that on and did an excellent job. Oh, another thing, I guess I'd have another request of you. Could the city request that the township quit graded my blacktop? They've taken out over 100 feet of that blacktop, and the last time they graded up and left gravel on the street in front of my house. And I think
Yeah,
that
we could have a conversation with them about it, I guess, and see. Well, I mean, was it broken up already, or?
no,
or as in-
they've over the last 15 years they've broke up a couple 3 feet at a time.
Okay.
If I need to look for a deed, can you tell me, are we talking the deed to the property where Keating Drive is, or you have somehow a deed to the property on 12th Road? What are we talking about?
It's the deed is to where the I think they called it James Road. Is that?
Keating Drive?
No, that was in the middle of
Because
the.
that was later with the development, but are you talking up by the water tower itself?
Yeah, it's the water tower.
The water tower itself, which was way in front of this development.
It was all about at the same time, but it was prior to that,
Because we call that Prairie Lane or something now.
Prairie Lane. Oh, okay, what?
That's what I'm looking for. I guess I'm not, I think maybe that's what we're talking about. Am I right? Okay, so we're looking for Prairie Lane, because the Keating Drive thing is still a private drive in our records, because it had to be within that development.
But he's talking about, 12th Road, is that correct?
No.
The road by your house?
What, yes, moved by the house, but the,
needed access to the water tower,
The new water tower, which is Prairie Lane. Okay,
then the property was deeded over to the city.
okay. So that's where I'm looking for that deed. And that was supposed to be in exchange for,
it wasn't an exchange, it was,
A gentleman's
I'd been good to the city and the city decided to be good to me.
okay, it was just a gentleman's agreement. So I won't find paperwork on that, is what I'm asking. Okay. All right.
Well, unless there'd be something with the paperwork, I mean, because there'd be something in the minutes when he got annexed in, probably, right?
Yep, there
Would there
should
be
be.
anything in that conversation
Well,
back in the minutes?
there should have
maybe?
been, but I don't know. I can look up the minutes. Do you know what year that was? You think 15 years ago?
It'd be in that time frame, but
Okay, I can find it.
If
Well,
you-
I can find when you were annexed in, no matter what. That I have.
Your concern is on 12th Road.
yeah, my concern is on 12th
The
Road.
Township Road has overextended its grading maybe, and destroyed the blacktop
Well,
for chip and seal.
it's actually blacktop. Hope Mueller did a very good job on that. I've had a few more minutes, I'll just express some ideas with you. Remember, it's just like that road, I'm not charging for it, and it's probably worth what I'm charging. You know, when 11th Street when I was county commissioner, 11th Street got rebuilt. 11th Street north to the Catholic Cemetery got rebuilt, and that was built about half with what the hell they call it? STP funds that the county. That's one time you got money from the county, and really, I don't know if city council should do it, because you'd probably have tick off some county commissioners, but somebody, maybe talk to the Chamber of Commerce, should put a sign up and explain how many dollars worth of county taxes the city of Marysville pays. Because when I remember when I did that, I got 2 very nasty calls from 2 former county commissioners, all swearing that the residents of Marysville don't pay any county taxes. And that's why it's hard to get the county to take the responsibility they should. And unfortunately, the state of Kansas has it in their rules that a city of under 5,000, they have to get their STP funds through the county. So, another idea I got.
You got a minute.
Hey, I got 15 minutes. 7th Street corridor. 7th Street corridor, you know, it's something that should be, you know, upgraded, but it's just hard to justify the money for it.
It is.
Why doesn't the city apply to the federal government for a recharging station there? It is exactly what they're looking for. You're on 2 major highways, and you're going to be furnishing electricity from renewable sources. They're not going to put these recharging stations in and let the electricity come from fossil fuels. Abilene got one because Abilene has all those windmills down there. So Abilene is getting one.
We had one, and I haven't heard anything about it for a while. Well, there was they were gonna put one by the bank,
Nemaha
then,
Marshall
yeah.
was trying to get us one.
and I think they were gonna try and get one down by the Pony, downtown somewhere was where they were gonna put.
What they want is they want a fairly large area because they want to have a solar roof on it. So and they want plenty of wide access. If I was you, I would talk to a rather large company here in Marysville, and he would get you into, he would probably get you into, your congressman, and things would probably happen. Any other free advice you want? High quality free advice. So I guess, will the city continue on with what they've done for the last 15 years?
Look it up.
See, we'll do research and find out what we can find,
Appreciate it.
so. Okay.
By the way, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
the reason I joined the city was, I had a working septic tank system there.
Yeah.
But do you know what Orangeburg is?
Oh, yeah.
I
Yes, I do.
And, you have to grind that out, and it gradually flattens. So I've got brand-new plastic pipe running straight to a major line right
Yeah.
now. With that, I thank you. Nobody has any more questions? I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else here for public comment? Okay, we'll move on to notices and hearings. First up, we have the closeout of the CDBG fire station with Amanda. Hello.
Okay, thank you, everybody. As you know, we are closing out the CDBG we're closing out the CDBG grant for the fire station. In order to do that, we have to have an open public hearing. It has to be officially opened, so if you wouldn't mind officially opening it. And if there's any comments.
I just have to say we're
Yep,
gonna,
yep.
we're gonna officially open the public hearing, for the, closeout of the CDBG fire station grant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody who has comments, concerns, good things to say?
Glad it's done.
Yeah, glad to be at the end.
I hear you there. And I got word from CDBG that the Lieutenant Governor stopped by, so that seems like that was a big deal, so congratulations. If there are no public comments, it can be officially closed.
Okay. All right, we will officially close the, hearing on the closeout of the CDBG fire station.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There are some documents that need to be signed. Cindy, is it okay if I say what they are now? Just
Yep,
run through
yep.
them quick? All right.
Well, yeah, because you're going to be up first anyway, and then we'll just let Will do his thing.
Okay, so there's just a couple documents that need to be signed. One is a grantee's release form saying that the job is completed, you're satisfied, and it can be closed out. The other one is an independent auditor's report. You guys are still in the process of doing your audit, so it just says that it's in process. The next one is quarterly progress reports, nothing that needs to be signed there. A certificate of completion, that just states how much money was actually used of the grant and how much of your local city money was used. There was no refunds, thankfully. It's a notice of completion and final inspection, just basically to say that we were compliant with wages, and if we weren't, why weren't we, and did we fix it, which everything, there was a problem one time, it was fixed, everything was fine after that. And then section 3, tables A through D, which are there as well. That's basically saying that there was no section 3 workers that were working on this particular project, and that's also okay. So those are the documents that are in that packet, and some of them will need to be signed by the mayor, one of them will need to be sealed and attested.
We need a motion to approve.
Is that now, or is that
We can do it
in
now.
business and discussion?
That's why she asked if she could just move on to that. So you
It can be done later if
If you
you
wanna
need
do
it to be done later, that's fine.
I'm just saying you just
Right,
need
we
to
can separate.
ask for to move it, in the agenda.
Right, if you want to move it up, you can approve it now.
Okay, everybody fine with just moving it up and
Yeah,
take care of
moving
it?
it up.
Sign it?
Yeah,
We'll
move to
move.
approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
7-0. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You-
While I'm up here, just an update on the Lagoon Project, which we're starting up now. We are going to be working on the environmental over the next month and getting that finished up. And as soon as that is done, then design can be sent in to KDHE once Daniel has that completed, and we'll get started a bit more on that project. We don't expect to be starting on construction until next year, March, though, just so that you are aware. Yep. All right, I think that's all from my side. Thanks. Looking forward to the next project. Let's hope it doesn't take as long as the fire station. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Right,
Now we have to open another public hearing.
yeah, we'll open another public hearing on a nuisance at 1007 Calhoun. Will?
I was just here to request you guys to sign a resolution to clean this up. I tried contacting them, they won't answer anything. So the next step is just to, we did our 10-day wait, actually we waited longer than that, because we wait until the next council meeting. We're just ready at this point to go in and clean it up. He moved like one set of chairs is all, but he didn't grab the, he never got the letter because it came back in the mail as unclaimed. So what we're looking at is just getting rid of those bags, which are full of cans, and the mattress and box springs.
Ask for public comment, yeah. For this, because we're in a hearing, so we need to ask for public comment.
Is anybody here for public comment on the nuisance at 1007 Calhoun? Okay. Right. We'll close this hearing and move on.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the resolution? Is there any discussion about the
Hang on, I gotta find it.
items? Okay.
It was just a violation.
Yes.
It's 20, yeah, page 28, Kevin. That is so that we can clean it up. We have to do a resolution.
Long was off.
And again, we're just talking about the mattress and the
Yes.
cans and stuff.
The mattress and the cans. The rest of the stuff, that refrigerator back there by this grill is hooked up to, it's a propane fridge. And the other stuff in the yard isn't, he's got an air conditioner, it's gonna be going in a window here pretty soon, I'd guess.
Move to approve resolution 2022-02 for the cleanup of the property at 1007 Calhoun, sorry.
Do I have a second? Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Okay. We'll move on under business and discussion items. Pony Express Historic Byway with Toby and Kate. Or Toby? Hello.
Hello, Toby.
Thank you for your time tonight. The first item here with the Historic Byway, that's really just a point of information at this point. We have had a couple of meetings, and we have another one tomorrow of a committee of people that stretch from Donovan County over to Washington County with the idea of establishing a Pony Express Historic Byway from the river over to Holmberg Station. Hopefully it is something that down the road could be a good tourist promotional tool. And we're still in the exploratory stage in terms of putting the application together and finding out kind of what's all involved, what the state requires, and kind of get that process rolling. So I will definitely keep you in the loop as that moves out forward.
Okay.
And if anyone does have any comments, questions, feedback, concerns about it, feel free to contact me and I can relay that to the group that's meeting every month or so. All right.
All right. Well, next up while you're there,
Yeah.
the hot air balloon fund request for Black Squirrel event.
So Convention and Tourism Commission earlier this month recommended allocation of $2,000 for a hot air balloon event that would be part of the October 22nd celebration for 50 years of Black Squirrel City. We've had a committee meeting for more than 6 months with a lot of discussion about exactly what form an celebration event should take place this year. At one point, we had a lot of discussions about keeping the Black Squirrel Night events as part of the same days, but felt like there were actually two different things going on here. One would be the community event that has the trunk or treat and the costume contest, and the other would be more of an event to try to bring people into town with the parade of the new Black Squirrels and some kind of evening event that we thought could be promoted to people an hour or 2 hours away to make them want to come to Marysville and spend a day here. And we believe the hot air balloon event is a good evening event that could do that. It would dovetail that with the parade, with having some live music during the middle of that day as well. And we hope that's something that would bring people in from a ways away. It's not an inexpensive proposition, and the committee has gone to try to secure funding from various sources. The Community Foundation has allocated a award of $3,000 for this process. The County Commission has agreed to allocate $1,000 from their tourism fund, and we have a private donor already who's would be willing to donate $1,000, and we're going to continue to pursue that path with private donations as well. We just kind of wanted to have a finish line and have as many steps towards that finish line as we could get before we started that process with some private donors. So if anyone has questions on that, I will surely try to answer them.
I think you're making a big step there, but that's my point on it. You know, it's supposed to be a downtown Black Squirrel deal, and now we're going to the airport with everything and dances and all that, so I don't see it personally, but that's my opinion on it.
I understand that.
I know we're trying to get people to Marysville, but I think if you're gonna do a hot air deal, let's do a hot air deal on a separate day and have that as a draw, not try to tie it in with Black Squirrel.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something in the future kind of discussion began even before the Black Squirrel
Cause I know people
process.
got Huff and Puff down there,
In
they have all
September.
the big balloons
Yep.
coming and stuff, so.
Was it Fall City?
Fall City, yeah.
Had one recently that I think was very successful.
Well, I'm not saying they're not
Yeah,
successful.
I know. I
But,
just think it might be better as a separate thing.
yeah, do it as a separate item instead of tying it in with an item.
I think there's a potential for that. It takes a bit of planning. I know the discussion this year was, all right, if there's not going to be fireworks, if that's kind of something we don't do anymore, is hot air balloon
Right.
something that replaces it? And I think that's a possibility. But again, it's a $10,000 commitment at this point in time to get one up and running with an organizer. And we would have had to been down that path January, February to do that, so.
And it's not that we don't wanna do fireworks,
It's difficult to, and
It's hard to find somebody,
Yeah.
yeah.
we have nobody around that's licensed to do it,
Mhm.
so.
I mean, we were even trying to find somebody that would, because we had somebody locally that would like to get licensed, and we were trying to line up somebody to come in that they could operate underneath them so they could get their license, and we haven't had much luck with that either. So I mean, unless we call
Aldridge
Kansas
told me
City.
that he wanted to, he would still train him even though he's not doing our fireworks.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he told me
Well,
that he
that's
would.
nice.
So that's, and if I have more than $10,000 for fireworks, I can get somebody from Kansas City here, but I have to have bigger bucks than what we were paying. That was what they told me right away. I said, I can get you somebody out of Kansas City, but you're gonna have to pay a lot more. But I think hot air balloons are awesome, but I'd like to have them on the 4th of July. I mean, instead of fireworks, that'd be
I
awesome.
do too, and they are exorbitantly
beautiful.
expensive
Yeah,
to
oh, yeah.
purchase and
Yeah.
operate.
Right.
You know, and fun to ride in too, but
Oh,
they're just,
I don't know about that, but,
the envelope, which is the balloon, they don't call it a balloon,
Oh.
call it an envelope, is like 150, 160,000, and you get
wow.
like so many flight cycles out of it.
Oh,
So
and
you
then
start doing the math, and it's like, yeah, no, it's an expensive hobby.
whoa.
Yeah. Plus the insurance, I'm sure, is
We're, probably not gonna buy one personally.
We need a city hot air balloon. What did I say to you? A squirrel-shaped balloon.
There you go.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, with a big black squirrel on it.
Oh. Perfect, now, Austin.
Somebody's gonna have to have deeper pockets.
I don't think you're wrong, Kevin, but on the same token, I mean, since they've already gone down the path this far, I also don't want us to be the ones letting the county and otherwise fund it, so.
Right.
But, I mean, in principle, I think it'd be cool to standalone event, but.
But in theory, we're funded. We're giving them $10,000 for the event already.
Now we're up to 12.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, another 2.
But, so, and the county gives $1,000.
Yeah,
Which is nice of them.
Yeah, very nice.
any penny they spend in town, I appreciate. How
Yeah,
about that?
exactly. I know we wanna get a lot of people up here for the event, cause it brings taxpayer dollars to town, puts people in motels, which funds you guys.
Yep, yep. They buy gas, they buy food.
Yep.
I can see where on the 50th anniversary, you would wanna do something a little bit more than what you do every,
Exactly.
and I guess this would be the year to try something. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it'll be a great thing and we'll
Yeah, I
keep
think
doing it,
the
I don't know.
balloon deal itself, you know, most of them I've been to, I think you can pull it off as a standalone event.
Mhm.
I have to agree with you. I think that overwhelms the event.
Yeah,
Try to add that to it.
so.
All right, any other questions then?
Yeah, I guess
That
somebody
was
wanna
just
make
my
a
thought on
motion.
it. Like I said, I'm just one person out of the 7 that's
I know,
here,
it's in,
so.
I guess it's in your consent agenda request maybe, or, so.
Is the 2,000.
It's in there,
Yeah,
okay.
and we can pull that.
So,
part
yeah,
out if
so I
we-
guess it's up to council whether they wanna approve it or pull it out, yeah. Okay.
Additional funds for
Additional
this,
funds for the,
on your consent, all
down there.
convention and
Well,
tourism.
while you are here, cause it reminded me, have we ever, I don't remember that we've ever gotten we wanted a map of the locations of the new black
For the
squirrels.
black squirrels?
Yeah, unless I missed it, I don't think that we've ever gotten
I
one.
don't think it's, been finished out yet.
Finished, okay.
Yeah.
because we want signatures on them that
Right.
it's,
Yeah, I think let's see, the Mandy was working on the deadline to pair up the artists with the squirrel purchasers. That was last week. And so I believe everybody's hopefully paired up with what their artists and their designs are gonna be. And I think she's still working through the locations and getting all
There
those
is,
approvals.
in addition to getting signatures from the people or the businesses, wherever they're gonna be set, the city should also have a say if it's on city right-of-way, and don't wanna have a surprise to those that are set on, this is where I want it. Just making sure they're not in the way, not taking up too much space.
Right.
that, and you wanna make sure they set far enough away from the curb when you pull in with your car, it doesn't
Yeah.
tap it.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure, was there correspondence to provide a memorandum of understanding to Mandy that she could utilize in that process? Do you know if that had taken place?
What?
There was gonna be, I believe, a memorandum of understanding provided that Mandy could use to the property owners.
So that we'd have signatures saying
Yeah.
that it's officially signed off on.
Look into it.
That's all I had.
Okay.
So,
All right, thanks.
thank you.
So,
We will move on to the swimming pool wage scale.
Okay, we included the wage scale, the current wage scale. We don't have a recommendation at this point in time, but felt the council needed to talk about it. We have 9 people, willing to work for the pool right now.
9 lifeguards, 1 admission.
Okay,
What's
so a total of 10,
Non-lifeguards and what?
10
One
applications,
admissions.
and 1 admission, so 10 applications in for the pool. Got 1 lead left, to talk to as a preferred candidate, as a manager. There's a backup, we'll execute that if necessary. But wanted you guys to discuss this, whether you thought this was adequate or not. if you wanted to change it or not. I mean, you can leave it alone.
I don't think it's adequate. It's not, I mean,
Not with what
it's uncompetitive.
Walmart's paying
Yeah.
and everything else.
Kids will want to do it, and they'll maybe take less money because they want the cachet or whatever that goes with being a lifeguard, but generally speaking, I think we have to up our game a little.
Okay. Do you have an idea to put forth on wages?
I mean, I don't know, what is the starting wage at Sonic or Hardee's or where Pizza Hut or wherever? I mean, most of the places now, I mean, it's a little more, and there's an argument whether, I mean, you're gonna smell like pizza, ask me how I know. Or you're, and it's air conditioned or whatnot, but I'd say at least $1. I mean, I think across the board, they've gotta go up $1.
I would say it'd be a good place to start too. $1, $1.50.
Yeah, and maybe it is one of those where the first year's $1, and then it's $1.10 or $1. I mean, I know it's nice and round right now, but I mean, if you wanted to make the jumps, rather than move everybody up $1, it's like $1, $1.10, $1.20, or $1.25, $1.50. So that way it encourages the return and leaves the gap. Otherwise, the marginal benefit of an additional year becomes smaller.
Well, it's 50 cents a year right now, in
Yeah.
addition to what you got the year before.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's already going at 50, not a dime. I mean, it isn't, you see what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
see what you're
So
saying.
we're not going 10, we're going 50. I don't
But I
wanna go
mean-
backwards.
Right, no, but I mean, I think like instead of 50, it should be 75 cents a year jump, or whatever. I mean,
So,
it's great to retain
so
people
what you're
because we don't
telling
have
me
to
is you're
worry
gonna
about
start
them.
at 9, and then go to 9.75 instead of 9.50? Or what are you telling me?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So that way I really wanna lean into it, and frankly, if we get a manager that we like and wants to come back year over year, they're gonna appreciate that return of employees, cause they already know the score, I would think.
According to, the internet, Walmart's starting pay is $10.97 an hour, so.
So you wanna go up plus 75 a year, and this is for lifeguards we're saying, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so I know where I'm at.
And I mean, I'd be okay with raising the concessions, but maybe not as much, just because I think that's a little bit different. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, cause I know it starts at the minimum wage, but minimum wage is kind of a joke, I think,
Okay,
anymore.
so you wanna start them at 8? Or 8 1/4?
I'd say
When $1 is 8 1/4, I mean,
Just do the $1.
just do the $1,
Yeah.
okay. And then raise them by 75 as well, as we
Sure.
go up?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's.
Okay, well, I'm
fairly
asking,
even way
I
to do
gotta
it.
know.
It keeps it quarters, at least.
Yeah, okay, all right. That's good, and leave the bonuses? I mean, we'll still pay bonuses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the
Yeah.
only
If-
one who pays bonuses.
If they're here the complete time.
Right, from
Yeah.
beginning to end.
Yes.
So what would the fourth year lifeguard be making?
So 10,
12 and a
50,
quarter.
plus,
Right? No, 11 and a quarter. No. 9.75, 10.50, so, yeah, 11 and a quarter.
Okay.
That's what I thought, I had it, and then I thought maybe. it
So
was their
what are you
second.
gonna move your manager and assistant manager to?
I will
That's
say,
another one.
overall, our manager made more than what they're paying me around, but,
12 and 16.
yeah, that would be a.
To 12 and,
12 and 16.
you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep the separation
Yeah.
of,
Yep.
this is the reason you have that job, and
Mhm.
when you have that job, you get paid more,
Yeah.
but you're also, more is expected.
Right.
You are the boss.
You know, we don't give a bonus to the manager based on years of service.
They always just get they just get the big
Can we
one.
consider that? I mean,
Yeah.
how many managers have we had in how many years? So, it seems like something we could add in pretty easily.
I was gonna say, it won't come into effect till the second year.
Well, yeah.
So what kind of bonus are you thinking? To encourage a really, a good manager to come back.
Yeah, the assistant manager, is it under the same, what it says based on
Base of years of service, so my guess is, if you, well, the way it was, is if this is the second time it would be 60 or 70 or 80 or, you know, most of them haven't been here more than 4 years, you know, I mean, some of the times assistant manager, their first year.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on what they're doing.
Well, I mean, I think the manager, it's math, but I think you've gotta make it pretty significant. I mean,
I'd say the manager maybe $100.
I'd say 200 even,
I was gonna say two.
yeah.
You wanna keep them, you want them to come back.
I want them to come back.
Maybe that's not enough. I mean, but I think that's kind of, I don't think it can be fiddly.
We want them to stay here.
What about
So-
assistant?
Okay, so you wanna raise the assistant, but, so $200 at the beginning of the next season?
Second year, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And the bonuses in the concessions and the bottom, I guess I don't know why there's a differential there, because I'm gonna tell you that poor kid sitting at the counter telling them people whether they can come in or they have to go home are catching as much flack, probably more flack than a guard is. I mean, I know we're paying them less, which is kind of, they don't have to have the training, I get it, but they're the ones that, I mean, I'm sure we got some not coming back because the parents coming in giving them the trouble.
If we gave them the same $50 bonus as a
I think that
first
would be
year,
fair.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and if they come back, 60, I mean,
Yeah.
I really think that would be more
yeah,
fair.
that makes sense to me.
Just the top and the bottom
gonna
is the
move the
same.
scales.
I mean, they really do take a lot of guff, sitting at that front counter. I mean, maybe not selling concessions, but sitting at the front counter, they do.
Front counter takes a big abuse.
They do, they take some pretty good abuse there.
Is there a possibility for co-managers? I mean, is this?
It depends
Done
on,
it
it depends on the
before, yeah.
situation.
It depends on the manager as well. Some managers don't want a co-manager. We've had that issue as well. Sometimes
So if there
they
is-
play off each other and it ain't
So if there
good.
is co-managers, then we really would need an assistant manager.
That's correct.
Okay.
I mean, I would agree with you.
That's where
Yeah.
I was getting at.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
It depends on the situation. That's, and that's evaluated on a yearly basis. Yeah. Cause if you get co-managers and they can't be there 100% of the time, they can be there 90% of the time, you need the assistance. Somebody to go to in time of need. And nature of all things, even though the managers may intend to be there 100% of the time, split it up, never happens that way. It never does. So, depends on the situation is where we're at.
So what's your threshold for opening? Are you gonna have to cut hours if you don't come up with more guards?
If we don't get any more, yeah.
If we have not enough staff to run it, then yes, we'll have to, go with the staff that is here and has applied and has agreed to work. And if, for instance, it's, heavy on, 15-year-olds, I think that's where the threshold's at. We can't have them work certain hours. So if we can't have them work certain hours, then we can't be open then. So we're hoping to serve the public as best as possible. We want to open it as long as possible. But when you don't have the staff to do it, that's what you're sitting with.
Well, do we wanna, you want a motion and approve it, or do you want us something typed up for next
Let's
meeting
type
to
it
vote
up.
on, or?
It's probably better to type it up so everybody knows what we're approving.
We've got time,
Yep,
and
okay.
as long as the newspaper gets in there that we're gonna be raising wages. It's coming.
Work for us. They should come work for us.
So,
Hopefully this'll draw a few more.
Yeah.
so I think we gotta make an adjustment of some kind, so. Anything else about that? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have the convention and tours and funds request under there.
Right. The hot air and the.
So, yeah, so I guess it's up to council whether they want to approve that in there, or they want to pull that, unless you want to pull that out.
Mr. Mayor, I move the Black Squirrels on Parade, the amount of $2,000 be pulled off the Convention and Tourism Board, request for funds, and we approve it, the Convention and Tourism Fund request for $4,600.
Second.
Right? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. 6-1.
Alright, Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
I move to approve the $2,000 request for the hot air balloon event.
all right. Do you have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, I'd point out that if we don't put the 2,000, I mean, it's a philosophical stance, because it's gonna happen anyway. We're just gonna be not contributing to it, which is problematic. And that's, I mean, I agree with Kevin's comments earlier as far as I'd like it better as a standalone event, but we're past the should we or shouldn't we phase, I think. It's more the, are we gonna be part of it or are we not part of the phase? So I'm reluctantly making that motion. That's all my comments.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, who were the
Vision of
in
the House?
favor?
I got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I got
Nope.
4 noes?
4 noes.
4, 3. Okay.
3, 4.
3, 4. Yes.
Yeah, 3,
Sorry,
4.
I always say it backwards. I'm sorry. Yes.
All right, move on to appropriations ordinance number 3771.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3771, the amount of $483,687.56.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about any items on there? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snelling, Bikeman,
Yes.
Gracky,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Gronk.
Yes.
7-0.
Okay. All right, next up we have staff reports. Austin?
All right, the only thing on my list is the repair, bid to repair the storm sewer on Carolina Street. Just as a reminder, I actually put the pictures of what we're repairing. On page 43 is the extent at which the proposed repair is going to take. Hopefully not much any more than that. If it does go more, it's gonna go to the east, past the driveway. But on page 44, you can see the view from the east going west of the pipe. Still 90% sure that's a service line, a water service line to Pepsi, and it's blocking half of or it's holding up a bunch of rocks that is blocking a lot of storm sewer. And then on the other side, on page 45, this is a view from the west going east, where that same storm sewer has adjusted, is kind of collapsed, and it would show where the water is being held right there. So that's all in the same stretch, according to these video pictures. And so I went out and talked to a couple contractors. I only received one bid after waiting a month, about a month, from Inline Construction, and they bid $26,650 to replace 104 linear feet of pipe, concrete pipe, 36-inch concrete pipe. They'd excavate it, they'd also adjust the water line to Pepsi. And then, also what you haven't seen a picture of is the bottom of the manhole on the west side of this project is basically, crushed rock. It's been worn out over the years. So they would pour that and make it a serviceable bottom of the manhole. Hopefully this fix will solve a lot of issues right down here on 7th Street corridor. And if our educated guess is right, we won't have as many backups on the storms over here.
Hey, Austin,
Yes.
what is the timeline for doing the work?
I don't know when they could start.
How long, did they say how long they thought it would take once it started? The reason I ask is, like Cromie Lumber.
A couple businesses, yeah.
It could block one of their buildings pretty easily.
And I've talked to Kevin about it. He's pretty excited that we're gonna get it fixed.
I know it's a long-term deal, for sure.
And we will definitely work with the businesses in the area to get that taken care of. It's not, I mean, it looks like on that map that you're blocking a lot of their driveway, but it doesn't, we can minimize that access.
I mean, I know they run forklifts through there and things,
Right.
and you know, we can fill it with rock, but sometimes forklifts aren't so great on loose rock,
Right.
so.
The plan is to definitely work with the businesses in the area, especially Cromie's, since it's right there partially blocking his driveway. Anything we can do to keep them going.
I know Pepsi comes out that back door all the time and goes around the corner, so.
Yep.
So once it's fixed, then will they redo the road right there in front of
Yes,
it?
concrete it back, yep.
Okay.
I see they got 104, they're pretty accurate on that.
So that's the manhole, we took if you look at the pictures, you can, on page 44, where they cameraed, that bottom corner, 242.5 feet, is from the manhole to the east. So you can measure from that manhole to 242.5, and the other side of that is, they measured the other side, but, yes, it's pretty exact when you take these measurements into.
Okay. The only reason I was curious, you may have to go back to another section of pipe or something just to make sure things fit, so.
And I forget how long those sections of pipe were, but I think they took that into consideration.
Okay.
And we originally looked at it, and this section that on page 45 that was sunk in is 37 feet from that west manhole. But there's a probability that shift actually shifted the line before you get to this section.
Right.
Because I should have had that picture in this video, but you could see the 37, maybe 30 feet in front of this, that water was being held that direction.
Oh, it sloped back.
It sloped back. So the safest thing to do was to bring it all the way and make sure it was right.
Drained in, right.
And then there was the manhole itself that
Right.
needed some attention. So I'd ask you to approve this bid from Inline.
Move to approve the bid from Inline for the sewer repair work in the amount of $26,650.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So no. That's all you had, right?
That's all I have.
All right, next up, the standing committee reports. Does anybody have anything on the street?
Yeah, what Mick brought up earlier about the township kind of grading the blacktop away. I've noticed they've been grading the rock on Keystone there by the industrial park awfully far west, because I run that road a lot of mornings, and now the pavement's like 50 yards further west, or ends 50 yards further west than it used to. And I don't think they're really chucking up the gravel, but they're grading the rock way far west, farther than they need to be, and some of it's being tracked out into our street. So I'm assuming it's the same grader operator that's doing 12th Road. So when you're having the conversation about trying not to be so aggressive at the ends of the gravel, that might be part of the conversation as well.
And I think a part of this, we'd probably need to check the city limits. Like, maybe a
Well-
sign that says, like, city maintenance stops here or something like that.
Well, sure. I mean, I guess that if we're willing to pave into the township should probably not be against that.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
not that we should get aggressive with that, but
But it just, I mean, something like that would not only help the person right now, but 10 years down the road to go, okay, well, where is this at? And, well, there's a sign right there.
Sure.
Hopefully it's still
Well,
standing.
and it's probably hard for them when they're grading it to get it stopped, just where you don't have a ramp, where you hit the asphalt or something.
I understand that. Just thought that, and I had noticed that a while back and was kind of indifferent to it, but since Mick brought that up, and we're gonna talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Also, the new trash can on 10th Street looks great. We'll get it out there.
I've seen that one yet.
We went out for any bids on the ADA ramps yet?
They are in the design phase, so no. They gotta design all those yet.
So,
In the small print at the end of that, we make sure that all work is completed in year 2022, please?
Yeah.
I believe that we discussed that at December 1st, didn't we?
Right.
Whatever,
Yeah.
just so it's completed.
Yeah, we discussed it
This-
at the time of the
This calendar
design.
year, not, because I don't like carrying that stuff off into the next year.
Right.
Kind of messes with the budget.
so if they put flags up, can we take the flags out of our yard?
If it's you mean the survey, not survey, but the, when they call locate? After 2 weeks, you are allowed to take those up.
It's been a long time, and he should be coming to mow my yard and all those flags are still up.
Unfortunately, it doesn't come with that. I mean, you just gotta, legally, you have to leave them for 2 weeks, and,
They've been up there for a lot longer than 2 weeks.
yeah, but they don't come back and collect them.
No.
That's the catch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, I'll
Yeah.
take them down, I just wanted to make sure I could.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything else on the street? Water and wastewater? I see we're still coming along on 11th Road North, so.
Yeah, they got one more, Kent said they had one more, to get that finalized on the west side. And then they could start, cause they hook it to the main and run, basically a live line that's capped on the other side. So they can finish all that off on the west side.
See, they put concrete in a bunch of them.
Yeah, up to where, it
asphalt.
could be milled off, yeah.
Looking good, though.
Mm-hmm.
I know the guys are down at the pool. Have they found anything that winter caused by a freeze out or anything this year?
Not necessarily a freeze out. There was a cracked pipe on Nemo, the fish. So we're gonna have to get that fixed. Hanover Electric's coming in on Wednesday to fix that. So there's gonna be they're gonna break up the concrete around that to get that pipe fixed.
Nothing inside though, like we've had in the past.
Not that we've noticed yet. I'm not
Yeah, I don't know
gonna
if
say
we've got that on
nothing
there.
yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're
It looked
still-
like they
they're
were
still
they
working
pressure
on it.
washing today, maybe?
They were pressure
They were
washing
pressure
today.
washing, yeah.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec?
When talking about the pool, I brought it up, I think, each of the last 2 or 3 years, that it'd be really cool if we could find a way to spin the speakers so that during the swim meet, people could hear it who are at the event and not people 2 blocks south, because that's not helpful.
Yeah.
for purposes of the swim meet. I know at one time, I mean, you can do a bracket. There's got to be a relatively easy fix if we want to look at it. I think that would be a nice little value add, since we already go to the effort of bringing bleachers in and doing a lot of those things.
Okay.
I usually bring it up after the swim meet because it's really noticeable.
Yeah.
This year I'm a little ahead, so.
That's good.
Also, on the, parks, you know, we have the doggy stations down here at the pony park, on the trail. Have we ever looked at, I know somebody had asked one time about putting them in the cemetery, and we all kind of agreed
There is
that was a,
one.
is there one?
I just went through there yesterday, and there is one by the
I've got-
gate.
I've got-
I didn't
I've got
realize there
squirrels.
was.
I didn't know that either. so-
Just inside the gate,
Yep.
there is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody donated that. Yeah.
But we don't have any at Dargits or Lions, is that correct?
Correct. That's correct.
That is correct, yeah.
And, I mean, I've had a couple people who live specifically around Dargits ask me about that, if that's something we can look at, mainly because there's apparently quite a few people who just let their dogs do their business. And especially that's a lot of foot traffic, kids in that park. So, I mean, I'm not saying people use them, but they're not gonna use what's not there. So, if that's something we can look at, putting a couple around, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
And the parks, folks will know better maybe where in the park would make sense, so.
Okay.
Glad.
Anything else on Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Parker, here.
I need a timeline on when foul ball is gonna be done.
They're pouring concrete tomorrow afternoon.
And when will the nets be here? When will it be installed?
Once the concrete is dried, they put the nets up and then measure off of that.
Well, I do not like the posts sitting in the handicap parking. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And number two is, it needs to get done way sooner than later.
Right.
Because the guy that moved the pallet the other day to retrieve a foul ball and went head first into the hole. Yep.
Okay.
And then the little girls that moved the pallet to jump down in the hole to get the foul balls. I think there were about 10 foul balls in the holes the other day. So, it needs to be fixed. Way quicker and sooner because rec ball's coming.
Okay.
So for me, my plan is with the weather window finally getting better to move that southernmost disc golf basket that is on there. I guess my question is, with doing that, I can get with whoever I need to call in to locate specific for that spot to have it done. But as it is on city property now, is that something that would be done with skid steer from the city, or how is that laid out now, I guess, to move the basket?
To move the basket?
Yeah.
I guess that's up to the council since you volunteered to put them in.
Correct.
And the adjustments, it's not knocking against anybody else, but I think the adjustments were gonna be put back on you, if I remember the conversation.
Yeah, and that was my question, is
Yeah.
if that's still standing on what we need to.
I'll leave it up to your guys' conversation. I won't make
Yeah.
that determination.
Which is fine, I have no problem moving that, take a little digging, but for that, it would need to be set in with concrete, which I can do. It's a couple, 3 bags of Quick that I could set in there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that is basically what I was curious about, is the process of getting that moved, and I will get into that probably this week or next.
Are we getting a tournament pretty soon? Did I read that somewhere?
Yeah, I think it was kinda brought up.
I haven't heard that.
I thought somebody was scheduling one. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
I can't remember who reached out to
I thought it
me.
was some club or something.
Yeah, somebody had reached out to me on that.
That's
It was actually Toby, I think, that reached,
Okay.
no, can't remember who it was.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just thought I read it and I thought I'd give you
Yeah.
some,
No.
let's do it.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on Parks and Rec?
One more thing, I don't know if this falls under parks, but since it's adjacent to the pony park, you might as well call it part of the pony park where we took those buildings down.
Yeah.
I do get asked occasionally about that building to the west, which has some issues, a couple blocks have, we'll say, fallen into the pony park. I see there's a pile of wood, which makes it look like maybe there's gonna be a fence going up or something, but that doesn't really solve the building problem. but besides that, I feel like we should maybe come up with some plans for things we can do with that space we can tie in maybe wall mitigation into the project. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, good uses that could be done with that space. I mean, sure, buildings and whatnot, but right now, functioning as a park, and since we try to do a lot of events downtown, and we have to pull in a stage thanks to Landall every time, my personal opinion is if you built that in such a way with some sort of, we'll say wall, like a solid fence type wall along the highway side, maybe put a stage in with a backing that would hold up that building. I can visualize something there that would face, we'll say face southeast. You could make that kind of an outdoor pavilion event space that would give a good place for car show, barbecue. We could have a ready-made stage. It could be really easy with the bathrooms across the street, and just kind of utilize that space to make downtown even more of a draw. I mean, it's fine to be fallow for now, but I think if we don't plan something, start working on plans now for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, then in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, we'll be talking about doing it. So I don't know what the first stage in that is. I mean, I think talking to the neighboring landowners is a good move, because we're gonna need to coordinate with them as far as stabilizing the situation. I don't know what everyone else's thoughts are on that.
I haven't heard any more. I think when we got done with that project, because we didn't use all the funds that we allotted for tearing those down, because when they got that wall exposed, they didn't want to get into that, so what was it 5?
1,500.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
That was all.
Okay, I thought it was more than that.
Because he had,
shotcrete it.
that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was more than that for some reason. No.
No,
You don't wanna continue past that.
I mean, and I know it wouldn't be cheap to do a stacked block or a poured concrete wall or something there, but if it was part of, like I don't know if everyone's been down 6th Street, I think, in Concordia, Main Street in Concordia.
Yeah.
They had a couple of buildings they lost in a fire a handful of years ago, and they turned that into more of a kind of an outdoor space where they have a screen painted on the wall, so they can, kind of a low stage with a screen on the wall, so they can have bands or events. There's kids can play. It's relatively protected. I think that would be probably as much of a challenge as anything, is making sure you've got that little bit of separation from the highway. I mean, you want it open enough that people can see,
Right.
so it's appealing, but also protection, because you don't want kids shooting out in the 36. But I mean, they've done a great job. They've won awards with it. I think part of the original plan with 7th Street corridor south was to put something like that near the wagon wheel, and there was some controversy over loss of parking and things, and that's why it didn't happen. But this makes sense for that, because it doesn't make sense for parking. And it would be easy to, I think, incorporate that into the infrastructure we already have. But
Said put some sidewalks in it, some benches, something for the
yeah,
kids, and a outdoor
if
stage.
you ever get to Concordia, check out what they've done. I think it's
I've
not
heard
a
about
whole-
I haven't seen it, but I've heard people mention it before.
It's
so.
nice, and it's the kind of thing that's pretty easy to maintain. I mean, that's the thing too. You don't want something that's gonna be a big headache.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like it would be a good tool for a lot of community events.
I wondered if he wasn't gonna do something to the wall, because I mean, I don't pay a lot of attention, but it looked like there was wood, like you said, and looked like there was metal strips.
Yeah, basically my thought is, I would rather us get in front of it rather than galvanized and 2x4s go up to kind of put lipstick on the pig sort of situation. I think us getting in front of that now through some planning would be a good thing. Otherwise, I don't want the council that's on here in 10 or 20 years, it won't be me, to have to be buying more buildings and then got a whole block of, blight or something. And heaven forbid.
Might lose that building, period.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's something to kind of put out in the community to get ideas and get feedback, or if that's something, some brainstorming. I don't know what the first step on it is. A lot of times somebody in the community will come to us with this kind of project, like I want it to happen. I don't know if convention and tourism, I imagine it could appeal to Main Street Chamber. This seems like a lot of organizations and could really, you know, be involved and interested, so.
Start talking about it
But yeah, but I think we can communicate, maybe communicate with our neighbor there and see what their intentions are. And let that be a little instructive too.
So we'll try and get a hold of him and see maybe what his plans are for it, that wall, and kind of go from there. Okay. Anything else on Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire?
I don't know exactly where this falls in, but, I know this weekend we had that little prom thing. And, the police and the street guys did a nice job with short notice. They got the job done. They did a very nice job. They're very easy to work with. I know a lot of people downtown appreciated that it happened. So.
Yep, turned out to be a nice night too. A little windy, but not as bad as it has been maybe
A little cool
Saturday.
for the walk, but it was all right.
It was cold and windy.
It got chilly, I'll say.
I walked home because it got too chilly.
Yeah. It looked like the kids still had fun even though they couldn't have UTVs.
They did fine.
I mean, I even saw a boat, so.
Yep.
Pontoon boat.
They just got more creative.
Yeah.
That's all they did. They got more creative.
That's not a bad thing. No.
Yeah, it really was. It was.
Okay, anything else on police and fire? Admin and fine?
On fire, Parker, have you guys had any trouble with traffic when you're pulling out all these fire calls now, or
No, I can't say we have. We haven't even, the stoplight's been really easy to handle, but I can tell you this, the semis get out of your way more than the local traffic does. No, it's sad, but that's the truth. I mean, in that type of deal, you only notice the bad ones. You don't notice all the good ones. And there's a lot of them that do really good, but no, it's,
I was just curious, it's an operation now, you've been on so many grass fires.
yeah, it's really what it boils down to, is just going a different direction, so getting used to the different directions. You know, a lot of times you come out and you went up the highway and you went south. Well, now we're coming all the way down the highway and going south. So, no, actually, it's been pretty good. Yeah, no, 20th Street's been really easy, I think, but.
Do we have any timeline when the cameras are gonna be on 10th and 8th be put in place?
No, they ordered the stuff. Yeah, they had to order the stuff first. So,
Oh, I
and
figured
I
they
haven't
would.
gotten a notification that it's been gotten in.
Right. Anything else on police and fire? Admin and finance? The only thing I had was Austin and I had just kind of a little informative meeting with, Ellen Barber with Partnership for Growth. Just more, she gave us a lot of information about ideas and ways to, incentivize development of housing and businesses and things like that. And I didn't know if council would want to either send it to a committee or set up a committee maybe to meet with her just to kind of go over some of these different ideas. I mean, just a sheet with just a lot of different ideas on it. I mean, some I liked, some I didn't like. I mean, that's the way it is when you got that many different things on there, but I didn't know how way to proceed with it. I didn't know if council, I don't know if it's something you want to have the whole council look at. I mean, but sometimes it can get overwhelming when it's just kind of a brainstorming session, kind of a thing like that. Rather than maybe having a committee narrow it down some, and pick out some ideas that they like. out of this. I mean, it's kind of just a list of things other communities have done, some locally and some a ways away, but,
Is it purely things that city council would be kind of attaching, or is
some
it?
of them and some of them wordy. I think that they're, was it the week, Monday after next, I think they're gonna go in front of the commissioners and maybe talk about maybe making that, neighborhood revitalization, maybe over a longer period of time. I think it's like 3 years now, whether they could get extended out to a longer period or just kind of look at that. A lot of things that the county can do, I think, with state statutes. I think some of the other stuff that was on there was, I think it was Blue Rapids, that what they had done was if you build a new house in town, next to your infrastructure, they would, the city crew, I'm not saying I necessarily do or don't like this idea, but they would come in and put in the sewer line and a water line from the mains up to the house for the service. Things like that, or waive the connection fee, just different things that towns were doing to kind of encourage development. Like I say, some things I liked, some things I didn't, and I don't know if you guys wanted to, like I say, if you wanted to look over some of it and see if there's anything.
Is that something you could share with us?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, I did get an email, but I got a print off.
Yeah.
That'd be good to review it. I mean, my inclination is, it's the kind of, usually I think these efforts that work best are a combination of, I wanna say a public-private partnership, but also different kinds of public and different kinds of private, as in, I think it would be one of those where it would benefit the county and the city to work together, but also maybe a private developer, but also maybe a nonprofit. So it's kind of, I'd be interested to see what the list is, but I have a feeling that there's any good efforts, we're just gonna be a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and exactly.
We can't do it all ourselves.
No, a lot of these were things
Or
we don't have
should
the
we?
authority to do, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just wanna have that emailed all you, and you'll just kinda look it over and maybe decide
Or
next
put it in the next
meeting.
council packet or something.
Okay.
For discussion.
However
Yeah.
works the
Discussion,
easiest.
okay.
And then, and then if it's, once everyone kind of gets their 2 cents in, maybe it does devolve to an ad hoc committee or something.
Okay. We can do that. That's all I had on that. Anybody else have anything on admin and finance? We don't have appointments of wage terminations. John, did you have anything?
No.
Okay, nothing with the city attorney. Does anybody have any reason we need to go into executive session for anything? Round table. Todd?
Nothing.
Nope. Keith? Nope.
There was something during street that I forgot to bring up that it was, I thought I could touch on now, is across from the Lutheran school down there, near Tension.
Okay.
There was a neon sign, and I'm not sure if it was pedestrian or something was knocked over on the, school crossing on the west side of the road that had been, either knocked over or.
Hit by a semi. They thought we had them fix it today.
Oh,
I
okay.
saw it
Nope.
and they
Nice.
fixed it today.
Awesome.
Anything else? Okay. Parker?
I got nothing tonight.
Okay. Colleen? Kevin?
I only got one thing tonight, believe it or not. The, stoplight on 10th Street, eastbound, can we get that straightened back out? Semi hit it and it's sitting like this.
Oh.
How do you want this?
While they're fixing everything else, we can, they'll be able to adjust
Just
that.
pull it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 8-10 inches out of square.
And you may have them look at the, left-hand turn arrow on the green. I think part of it's out.
Okay. Oh, because it comes with new LEDs.
Oh, that's what I
think.
I didn't worry about it because I thought it did come up.
Oh, no, maybe not the stoplights themselves, but yes, we will get it addressed. Yeah, we'll get it addressed one way or the other.
And they get the camera stuff in there.
That's it? I don't have anything.
Is there any reason, way you could move that white stripe on 10th Street by that stoplight, going south down a little bit further, so people don't stop off.
Well, we put it right there when the last KDOT project, came through.
You mean, cause they're
Give
getting
us
too
south
close to
about
you to make the turn, is that what
Makes
you're
it
saying?
pretty difficult when you're 16 feet wide trying to make that turn.
Give us south about 6 foot would work great, wouldn't it?
Okay, wait,
So on 10th Street, the stop line, going,
You
on
turn,
northbound
go
traffic.
south.
Oh,
He's wanting the
Coming from
turn,
east.
you want the
Yeah.
white lines in the turn lane.
The white line where they pull up to stop.
We're coming
They can
from
move
the
that
south.
white line
Go from
further
south.
south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
I
don't
got
come,
77.
but then we can't see around the corner if they wanna make a turn.
Yes,
That's
it's
why
a
they.
very tight corner when you, normally if I'm that wide, somebody pulls up there, I have to wait for another cycle.
um,
Okay.
I don't know if we personally have the means to change that line.
Well, can we just check into it?
Okay.
And I know it gets pretty close to Broadway.
No, yeah, I know
Well,
what you're
that's the
saying,
problem with
but I
Broadway
know what
and
I don't know if there's a KDOT marking rule on that or not.
I bet there is.
I bet there
I'm
is
going to
too.
assume, but we can always ask questions.
Yeah, because we have to have the vision to be able to see to the side, and if you're that far
Well,
back, you can't.
and there's a number of times when I've pulled up there and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get out of the way, and somebody's in the non-turning
Yeah, the
turn lane on the east side, so I can't even get out of the way, and I'm like,
Right.
you go, and then I go.
Yeah. Okay. We can look at that. 10th Street.
Cause I'm not the only person that's,
Oh, no, I've backed
wide.
up there more than once.
No,
There-
I
there's-
get it, but
It's not just your bad driving, it's everybody.
You go, be like,
I'll pull a trail.
Alright, anybody else have anything else?
that's all right.
Okay, I don't have anything. So,
Move to adjourn?
alright, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Hey Keith, I did have to pull a 16-foot cargo trailer through downtown Chicago.
Okay, don't go anywhere, let's sign these
No, a
papers.
thing or
first.
two, I tried to angle through, and people were double parked and trying to sweep around them. God, I can imagine pulling anything bigger than that through there.
Thank you.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, and the 80 was awful. It's all intermodal semis. You get kind of hemmed in, and it's like you're in a box driving down the road. Crazy.
Well, he may not have known that.
Oh, I know.
I'll tell him that.
And it's just rough as snot in some places too, so that trailer's bouncing, and I'm trying to hold the lane, and I'm
I have
like,
a car
oh,
filter,
man,
and
just
if
awful.
my number
what is today,
doesn't
20?
recognize you, it,
Well,
it.
I
Or,
well,
but it's funny, my shoulders and my back
25,
are actually sore. I got
Or
my-
425, 22, good God.
Here and
I
all
don't wanna
day in
do
the wind.
February again.
Hope,
workout.
Kansas?
That's where my number's from. I've had it since I was.
Okay, I write down the
Oh,
notes.
so, yeah, like when it was the whole Star Trek.
I'm trying. My 70's a lot easier to drive than I do.
Give me a call tomorrow about the Murphy building.
There you go.
No votes for Kevin.
I'm gonna look CLEs too, so I may cancel out in the morning.
And Yep. You betcha.
I tried to find that, but probably blocked it.
Did you get your water thing fixed up?
Oh, I know,
Oh.
people get mad at me, I'm like, dude, I am like, 5,000 RPM trying to get up those hills, I'm like, I can't go any harder, people. That's what it is.
I got to looking at it again.
I try to stay
Come on.
Yeah?
Oh,
And
I eventually gave it up at Council Bluff and ran down 29 over through Nebraska City. I was just like, I didn't want to take all that weekend.
Well, then I tell you,
I always
like
know.
block strikes or something.
Yeah.
That was enough.
Throw that timer.
Yeah.